Gamer here, and well, we literally only have 5 days left until Jane's banner ends, and I have to make this video now because, well, after testing Jane and Seth, I basically have a full grasp on what their capabilities are, and I can comfortably rank them in a top 10. And the last top 10 I did, well, Chingy was released, and Jane and Seth weren't, so I can't really rank them. But now, since everyone came out in 1.1, now it's time to actually rank all of these agents. So yeah. And, well, also 1.2 is going to come out anyway, so I have to upload this before 1.2. So that's also another reason. But yeah. Well, anyways, time for the intro. Welcome to Let's Say, where instead of playing the game, I actually talk about it. So in this episode of Let's Say, we're going to be talking about the top 10 agents of ZZZ. Yep, the top 10 agents of ZZZ. It's been a long time coming, but, well, since Jane and Seth came out, I have to make this video. So yeah. Well, without any further ado, without any further delay, let's talk about it, shall we? So here it is. Let's transition to the tier list. There it is, boys. The top 10 tier list right there. So, a couple things to go over before we go on to a couple of well, agents, of course, and rank them. One, well, this is going to be a top 10 video, not a tier list. Yes, I keep mentioning tier lists here and there in my Zenless Zone0 videos, but I'm only going to be making a tier list once all the agents are released. And by that, I mean once all version 1 agents are released. And that's because the roster right now is currently limited. I mean, look at this. This is literally our whole roster, besides, well, obviously Bell and Wise. These are Phaethan, but they don't count because they're not playable. I only put them there because why not? But yeah, all of these agents are literally brand new. Literally, the game only came out for 3 months, so yeah, I can't really rank them all on the tier list as of right now. But as for top 10, I could comfortably rank all of these in a top 10 setting. Keep in mind though that all of these agents are pretty close together, and what I mean by that is all of them are actually pretty balanced and pretty well, good. Actually, you can literally run any of these agents and you can perform really well with them. That's how good they are. So yeah. Well, any further ado, we gotta go through some ground rules, of course, in this top 10, because if I don't, then I'm gonna be flamed. So yeah. First off, this is a top 10, of course, and not a tier list. So, well, keep in mind that if it is a tier list, then most of these agents are probably going to be grouped together. In a top 10, well, all of these are basically precise. So yeah, it's just my precise ranking. Just keep that in mind. Secondly, assume that all agents are in certain criteria. And what I mean by that is that all of agents are literally graded off of criteria by multiple things. And by those multiple things, I mean, that's what makes them what they are in the placing. So yeah. Well, what I mean by that, or what do I mean by that? Well, let's just go over this. So, number 1, assume that all agents in the game are treated fairly. And what I mean by that is all of them are fair. They are literally fair. So what I mean by that is all A rank agents are MC6, all S rank agents are MC0. Yep. So since A rank agents are pretty easy to get in this game, mostly you're just gonna get them off by multis or just doing normal event summons. You're just gonna be getting these naturally. So yeah, MC6 is going to be basically your, well, maxed out agent for A ranks. As for S rank agents, MC0. The reason why is because they're event limited agents. And there are also some S-rank agents that are pretty hard to get because they are in the standard pool with other S-rank agents. So it's highly unlikely that you're ever going to get a dupe MC for your S-rank agents. And besides, if we treat every S-rank as if they are MC6, they stomp over A-ranks. Yeah, the A-ranks aren't even going to be close to the S-rank agents if the S-rank agents are MC6. It'll literally be unfair. We have to treat everyone fairly. As I said in the rule, everyone is treated fairly. And with that being said, assume that all agents have the bare minimum W engine. What I mean by that is no signatures. Yep, no signatures. Which means that, well, let's give an example. So, let's talk about Nicole's W engine. It literally gives her ER. It gives her, well, damage bonus as long as you do a chain, of course. Qingye at R1 gives flat 20% damage for free, and she gets a lot of impact percent. That's 10 times better than Nicole's. Yeah, so, most of these, like, S-rank W engines are pretty unfair. And besides, some of these W engines, or these S-rank W engines, you literally run them on A ranks to make the A ranks like 10 times better. What I mean by that, an example, is that for, well, let's just say for, well, Anby. For Anby, you literally want to run Brimstone, Lycon's W engine, because it's literally a better version of her signature W engine. So yeah, it's really, really unfair to assume that everyone has their signature W engines, when in fact, Lycon's is like 10 times better than Anby's. So yeah, again, fairness. Fairness is key to this ranking, of course. Also, speaking of fairness, assume that every agent has their best discs set. Yep. Assume that every agent has their best disc. What I mean by that is, I'll just give examples. Ellen is going to be running 4-piece polar. That's a no-brainer. Of course she's going to be running 4-piece polar. That's her best set. For Qingyi, of course, she's going to be running 4-piece Shockstar, because it's literally impact. It's basically what helps her fuel herself. For Nicole, she literally runs swing. You run swing jazz. That is her best 4-piece. So yeah, assume that every single agent here just runs their best set in general. So yeah, whether it be a specific set for one thing or a specific set for another thing, just assume that every single agent can get the job done with their W engines. So yeah. And, well, that goes over the second rule. For the, well, third rule, and basically the final rule, this is just my opinion. I mean, there's really nothing for me to say here, except this is just my opinion. So, well, if you are dissatisfied with the list, or if you don't agree, or if you want to make your own tier list, I will link this tier list in the description of this video. Just make your own tier list, and then maybe share it. You could just save it on tier list maker, and then you could just share it with others. So yeah. Well, with that being said, this is just my opinion. Take this list as a grain of salt. It's not really that serious. It's just my silly personal opinion. So yeah. And with that being said, and without any further ado, it's time to get started. The moment you've been waiting for. The top 10 agents of ZZZ. And kicking off the top 10 agents of ZZZ, we have the number 10 spot. The reason why I put a number 10 is because, well, the top spot is 0. Zenless Zone 0. Get it? Well, anyways, enough about that. Number 10, for the honorable mention, we have the burger lover of the Gentle House, or the Cunning Hairs, Anby Damara. Anby Damara is our number 10 spot. Yep, Anby. Give it up for Anby for being the honorable mention of this tier list. So, if you paid attention before, Piper was our honorable mention. Well, she's been ranked down. Yeah, so she's literally number 11. But for Anby, well, Anby just stayed where she was for the most part. So yeah. Well, what is Anby? Anby is a electric stun agent who is a free-to-play. And that is a pretty good thing. Since she is a free-to-play stun agent, and, well, she's actually pretty good at her job, she literally gets the job done because of her kit. Perfect segue, right? So what is her kit? Well, her core literally gives her impact, which is pretty good because she is a stun agent. Her core literally gives her 64% days for free as long as you do Thunderbolt, a special, or an EX after her third basic, which is pretty easy to get because all of her basics are pretty fast, and getting to her third basic is not that it's not that hard, really. It's really not that hard. You'll literally do 1, 2, 3. You can do Thunderbolt. You could do the Fork Lightning, which is when you don't have EX. And you could do Lightning Bolt, which is when you have EX. So her main gameplay is literally just stun the enemy. And that's it. Also, her additional ability is pretty good if you do want to run her with an additional ability. Because when you do a dodge counter, which is most of the time, since you are going to be using Anby in the front lines anyway to stun the enemy, you literally get 7.2 energy back, which fuels her EX, which is her main bread and butter. Yep, it all comes back to her EX and her special attack. So yeah, Anby is literally, well, in terms, a special attacking or EX special attack stunner. That is what her core gameplay is, and that is what she is at her core. And her MC, her Mindscape Cinema, is no slouch either. It's pretty good on her, and it also fuels what she basically does. So MC1 literally gives her increased energy regen rate, which is pretty good because she gets her EX back pretty fast. For MC2, 10% days, as well as damage increase, which is pretty good. At MC4, she gives energy back, which is pretty good, to electric agents, specifically electric agents, which means herself. It counts for herself. She also gets an additional energy as well, for herself as well, to get her EXs faster. And MC6 literally gives her increased damage. Yep, so not only is she going to be stunning enemies with well, EXs and third basics, she's going to be doing a lot of damage too. So yeah, she is actually pretty great. One of the best stunners in the game. Well, free to play wise, of course, and A rank wise. So that is her good sides out of the way. What are her downsides? Well, you're going to be seeing a lot of trending in this video, a lot of trends here. And, well, one of the few trends you're going to be seeing is teams. Teams are basically the ultimate weakness. And, of course, well, one of her ultimate weaknesses is how her kit works. Yeah, so her buff, well, the good thing is her kit, but the bad thing is also her kit. If you don't know what I mean, well, I'm going to be explaining it right now. So her kit's downside is literally all of her stun is front-loaded to EX. Everything. Her stun. Look. Her core literally gives her 64% days on special. Her Mindscape Cinemas give her literally everything based off of special. Look at this. Energy on special for MC1. For MC2, literally give EX increased days. Yeah, as you see there, most of her MCs will literally give her a lot of stuff to basically do EXs. As you see there, regeneration. Energy regeneration for EX. Right here, literally basics will literally give you more damage when you do EX. It's literally everything. Everything is based around her EX. And that, right there, is her ultimate downside. So, why is that her ultimate downside? It's because the other stun agents in the game who do stun don't use EX. Or at least they don't rely on EX to do the stun. What I mean by that is, well, let's look at her competition. Kaleda. Kaleda, you use EX, right? To get her basics. Well, that's all you do. Now all of her stun is based around her basics, which is pretty easy to get. It's not, well, you spam EX. Because, again, for Anby, all of her stun is on EX. It is all front-loaded on EX. If she doesn't have EX, she's not going to be stunning that good, because the only way she could stun is basic attack Thunderbolt, which she can only do if you do third basic into charge basic. For Kaleda, she doesn't have that problem. You literally do EX, then you do basics. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Literally, the only condition that you want Kaleda to be in is literally to do her EX or to do chain. Once you do that, you literally have this. You literally have the furnace fire effect for free. All you have to do is do normals and the enemy is stunned. Yep. So basically all of her stun is all on basics, which are pretty easy to get because you literally just left click. For Anby, you have to go through hoops and hurdles to get energy back, to do EX, and then once your EX is gone, then you just do basics. But yeah, all of her stun is based around days. Or EX is based around days. So let's look at another stunner. Lycon. Lycon, literally all of his stun is on charge basics. That's all he ever does, and that's really, really easy to do. Compared to Kaleda, where she has to do EX in order to do basics. For Lycon, he doesn't need EX. All he does is literally just do charge basics, and that's it. The enemy's going to be stunned in no time. EX is literally just a cherry on top for him, which of course does stun too. So he has 2 ways to stun the enemy. We also have Qingyi, who literally all she has to do is mash. That's all she has to do. Literally, you mash to get 3rd hit. Once you build up enough Flash Connect, you hold basic to do Moonlit Blossoms, which does massive stun damage. Massive. And I mean massive stun damage as well as massive days. She's literally, all she has to do is basic. You see the pattern here with all of these stun agents? So, if you don't catch that, basics. That's all she does for stun. Basics. That's all he does for stuns. Basics. That's all she does for stun. EX. This means that she's inconsistent. Yeah, that is her ultimate downside. If all of her basics were to give good stun, aka probably like have all of her basics do electric damage, then yes, she would be pretty good as an A rank. But because of the fact that all of her damage is, well, all of her days is front loaded, she can't do that. She can't stun the enemy fast. Unlike these 3. Kaleda literally stuns the enemy fast because all of her stun is on basics. Lycon stuns the enemies really fast because all of his stuns are on basic. Qingyi literally stuns really fast because all of her stun is on basics. Anby can stun fast if she has energy. Yeah, she's the only exception to these stun agents. She literally needs EX to stun. And if she doesn't have that, well, good luck trying to build meter. But yeah, that is her ultimate downside. Her other downside is her teams. So let's take a look at her additional ability. So if we have her additional ability in mind, you literally have the same attribute and faction. So what is her attribute? Electric. What is her typing? Stun. So what does that leave her with? Well, we have a couple options here. Since there are a lot of electric agents in the game, you have Qingyi, which is a pretty good stunner. You have Seth, who is great at giving anomaly support. You have Anton, who is a great electric DPS who benefits well on shock teams. And you have Reina, who is one of the best supports for pen ratio. And also pen in general. So, what is the... Well, and we also have Grace, of course. I forgot to mention her. She is great at anomaly. And she is great at starting shocks. So, yeah. So, what is the main problem here? Is that Anby doesn't fit quite well in all of these. Except for Anton. I'll give it that. Anby works great with Anton. She also kind of works great with Grace as well. But as for the others, not so much. I mean, you can give Pen with Reina. because, well, if you are running main DPS Anby, yes, I am considering that. If you are running main DPS Anby, then yes, it's pretty good. You can run Reyna, you can run Grace, because she's going to be giving shock. You can run Qingyi as your stunner instead of Anby. But, again, think about her role. Her role is to stun. So that means that she's only good with certain teams. And those certain teams, keep in mind, have better options than Anby. So, her other team, of course, is Cunning Hairs. So, she basically has Nicole, Billy, and Nekomata. So, before we get on with it, let's just talk about all our team options. So, Qingyi. Qingyi, literally, she replaces her. Like, literally. She's electric. She's stun. Literally the same type as Anby. Yeah, literally a full-on replacement. She's the S-rank Anby. Yep, nothing to be said there. Grace. Grace is pretty good if, of course, you don't have any other stunners in the game. Because Anby is great on a Grace team. Except that Grace's best team doesn't even have Anby in it, because you literally run Grace, Anton, Reyna. If you don't want to run Reyna, then Qingyi. Yeah, so, yeah, Grace doesn't even have Anby in it, or at least her best teams don't have Anby. Seth, he's an anomaly support. He doesn't support Anby. Anby is a stunner. He only supports anomaly. And besides, AP, Anby doesn't use AP. She uses attack and stun. Yeah, so this means that Seth's partners are literally Grace, Jane, Piper. That's it. That's all she has. And it doesn't fit well with her. So yeah, Seth is out of the picture. Anton. This is probably one of the few agents that can work well with Anby, because stun, of course. If the enemy is stunned, you do more damage. And since he's an attack, he's a DPS. So yes, he does work. And lastly, Reyna. Reyna is really, really good. She's a support, so she basically fits on any team. So yeah, she's basically also another exception to the rule, because she literally gives off support for party members. So, well, since I discussed about everyone, what's the main downside? All of our teams! All of our teams, she can literally be replaced by anyone. Yeah. For Anton team, you literally run Qingyi. For, well, Cunning Hairs, for the most part, we could talk about that now. So, for Cunning Hairs, we have Nicole, Billy, and Nekomata, right? So, of course, Billy is pretty good if you know how to play as him. If you literally are, like, a Billy main, you can literally run Billy and he performs really, really well. Especially in a Cunning Hairs team, which is probably his best team too. So yeah, of course, he could perform well. You're obviously going to be running Nicole on the team, because Nicole is literally the best AoE crowd controller in the game, or one of the best AoE crowd controllers. She also literally is the best teammate for the Cunning Hairs because of how her support works. So she literally is a team player. You have to run Nicole on a Cunning Hairs team. As for Nekomata, well, since she is easier to play than Billy, Billy could get outright replaced by Nekomata. So yeah, so Anby's best team basically is Nekomata, Anby, Nicole. That is the best team that she can run, which is Cunning Hairs. And compared to the other faction teams that you can run in this game, it's quite weak compared to the others. So yeah, in short, Anby doesn't really have that many good teams under her belt, and she also gets replaced on those teams. And of course, her main ultimate downside is that all of her stun is based off of EX. So it's sad for me to say, but Anby is literally where she is right now because of those reasons. So Anby is at number 10, unfortunately, because of that. So yeah. The ultimate, of course, factor is that she gets replaced and all of her stun is based off of EX, because all of her basics literally don't they don't stun the enemy fast enough, unlike Kaleda, Lycon, and Qingyi. So yeah, that's the reason why she is at number 10. But she is still pretty good. I mean, she is in the honorable mentions, right? So yeah. And that is it for the number 10 spot. So, time to move on. So, the number 9 spot, we have two agents actually. Yeah, so agents can actually share a spot if they perform similar roles and they're also similar in kit and design-wise. So, with that being said, at number 9, we have the cat of the cunning hairs, Nekomata. And we have the lone soldier who loves spicy food, Soldier 11. Yep, these two share the number 9 spot on the list. So let's transition right here to them, and let's just talk about them. So Nekomata. So Nekomata is she's actually extremely good, and by that I mean all of her damage is based off of one thing, her EX. Yeah, literally all of her EX damage is actually pretty good. Specifically on her additional ability, not her core. So she literally gets 35% EX special increase, stacking up to 2 times, meaning that you get a 70% EX special increase. That is all her damage is front-loaded to 2 EX. All of her damage is based off of EX as long as you inflict assault, of course. So all you have to do is literally inflict assault 2 times. And you get the max of 2 stacks, meaning that your EX is just going to be hitting hard. She is literally extremely good on physical teams because of that. And also, her core is nothing to slouch at. You're going to be doing this a lot anyway, since she is a dodge and quick assist character anyway. She is mainly focused on that. You literally do 60% increased damage. So yeah, so you're going to be going out of your way to do dodge counters and quick assist for her. So you're going to be playing mostly a quick swaps oriented team or lineup. So yeah, that is where all of her damage comes from. So it comes from basics, obviously, dodge attacks, and then EX, of course. And of course, since she is going to be a really good DPS, mainly just going to be doing like a lot of physical damage, ult is also pretty good to level up too, as well as assist, of course. All of her kit revolves around her additionals and her core passive. So you literally want to level up those, because she literally is what she is. She does all the damage based off of, as you see here, dodge counters, quick assist, and her ultimate damage comes from the EX. Her EX is going to be her main damage source. And now we could talk about Soldier 11 right here, who is a fire attack compared to Nekomata's physical attack. So they both are literally the same agent because they have similar strengths and weaknesses. So let's talk about Soldier 11. So Soldier 11's, all of her damage is based around basics, and her core literally tells you that. When you trigger fire suppression, which is basically when your sword does fire attacks, you literally do 70% damage. It's similar to Neko. Literally, Neko gets buffed based off of dodge counter and based off of EX. That is where all her damage comes from. Literally, for Soldier 11, all of her damage comes from suppression. And as we look at her additional ability, you get additional fire damage, and also you get more fire damage when the enemy is stunned. So yeah, you literally get 32.5% fire damage on top of the 70% you get. So yeah, all of her damage is based around her basics. That is where all her damage is going to be coming from because of her core. So yeah, basics, dash attack. So does that sound familiar? It sounds like Nekomata, where all of her damage is based off around one skill or multiple skills. As you see here, for her, it is dodge counter, quick assist, and EX. For Soldier 11, it's going to be basic, dashes, and most of the time, ult. So yeah, that is where all of her damage comes from. And of course, all of her stuff is based around her fire suppression mechanic, because her ult and her chain literally gives her fire suppression for the next, 15 seconds up to 8 times. So yeah, all of her damage is going to be basically on fire suppression. You don't even really need to do ult or EX to get fire suppression, because you can literally do it on basics as long as you time it, of course. But since timing it is kind of hard, especially if you are in the heat of battle, most of the time you're going to be getting fire suppression off her ult, chain, and EX. So yeah, that is where all of her fire damage comes from. So yeah, so these two are pretty similar because of how their kit works. Because they are literally based off of, well, their specific damage. Again, I'll repeat it. Nekomata is EX, dodge counters, quick assists. For Soldier 11, it's going to be base 6 and dash attack. So yeah. And now we can talk about their weaknesses. Again, you're going to be seeing a trending pattern here, but it's their teams. It's their teams. And, well, that's basically it. Yeah, nothing wrong with their kits, actually. They're actually pretty good, honestly. Both of their kits are pretty good. For Soldier 11, it's pretty good. For Nekomata, it's actually pretty okay, too. She is pretty good. So, the reason why they are equal, well, we could talk about, Neko first, since, I did mention her first. So, one of her main downsides is that her kit isn't really that good compared to other DPS kits out there, but she is pretty good at her core. Literally, her core carries her to victory. So yeah, but as I said before, these two, their teams are literally their weaknesses. So let's talk about their teams, shall we? So what is Neko's team options? Well, she doesn't have that much, so we can look at her well, additional ability here. So it's attribute and faction. Attribute is physical, faction is cunning hairs. So we already talked about cunning hairs already with Anby, so we could get that off of the list. So let's talk about physical characters. So what does she have? Jane Doe, Corrin, Piper, and that's it. And of course Billy, of course. But since I did talk about the cunning hairs already, Billy doesn't count. But yeah, literally, the physical characters that you get are literally Jane, Corrin, and Piper. That's all you get. As for cunning hairs, of course, you get Nicole, Anby, and then Billy, of course. So, what is Nekomata's best team? Honestly, it's a team with Jane. Except that, well, that's the problem of 4 teams. So, remember when I said that their teams aren't really that good? Well, let's talk about it. So, Jane. What is Jane's best team currently? Jane, Seth, Chingy. And that's because you literally run Seth to give AP to Jane, and then Chingy does all the stun. If you put Nekomata into the mix, you're losing out on stun. You're literally losing out on stun. So yeah, and besides, she doesn't fit into a Jane team because look at this. Anomaly or faction. She is not in PubSec, and she is also not an anomaly character. Let's look at Seth. Attribute faction. He's electric PubSec. That does not fit also on a Nekomata. So, what that means is that you're screwed. You're absolutely screwed. So literally, the only team that you can probably run that can fit with Jane is Jane, Piper, because if we look at Piper's additional, literally same attribute and faction, Jane is literally a physical, but she also syncs up with Anomaly. And guess what Piper is? Anomaly. So yeah, and since she is also a physical attribute, that combos with Neko. So this is literally her best team because it literally benefits her assault thing. So yeah, the more assault that you get, the higher your EX special damage becomes. And since all of her damage is based around EXs and dodges, she's going to be doing a ton of damage on those teams. Except that, well, again, let's talk about it. Remember when I said Jane's best team doesn't involve Neko? That's the main problem. Literally, well, most of Neko's teams, they literally have better options for her. And, well, the best option, if it is Neko, are not that much. So, you can run her best free-to-play team, which is Neko, Piper, Lucy, but you lose out on stun. because you're going to be doing Assault, and then you're going to be relying on Neko based off of EX. So yeah, you just gotta hope and pray that Neko does a lot of damage to the point where the stun bar or the meter bar doesn't really matter. So yeah. As for Cutting Hairs, of course, that's also one of her best teams. Again, as I mentioned before, Neko, Anby, and then Nicole. That is also one of her best teams. Because Nicole is a, AoE crowd controller, and then we have Anby who could group them together with the EX. You could literally just do Neko EX and then just do a ton of damage. So yeah. But, as I said before, teams is one of her main weaknesses. Because, well, for all the team options she has, she either gets replaced or they're not strong enough to contend with the other teams in the game. And what I mean by that is one of the best teams in the game. I already mentioned it before, Jane, Seth, Ching-Yi. That is a extremely strong team. Neko, Nicole, and Anby, not so much compared to those. So yeah, as for team options for Neko, she doesn't really have that much. And it's even worse for 11. Yes, 11 is actually extremely good in this game, but her additional ability in order to activate it sucks. It absolutely sucks. It's probably like one of the worst additional abilities ever at the time like this version update is at 1.2. At 1.2, I can literally declare that this is probably one of the worst additional abilities conditions in the game, because what is it? Attribute and faction. Let's talk about her faction first. Obol Squad. Who's in the Obol Squad? Tell me. Who's in the Obol Squad? You guessed it correctly. It's 11. She's literally the only agent in the Obol Squad, which means that she doesn't have anyone in her faction. So that leaves her with only one option, and one option alone. Fire attribute. So what does that leave her with? Literally only like a handful. I can literally count them in one hand. And let's count them right now. So, what do you have? Lucy, Kaleda, and Ben. That's it. I can literally look again. As you see there, no fire, no fire, no fire. Ben is a fire agent. Lucy's a fire agent. And Kaleda's a fire agent. That's all she gets. 3 agents. 3. Literally 3. That's all she gets. 3? That means that her team options are seriously one of the worst in the game. You literally only have 3 agents. You have 3 agents to work with. Of course, you can combo into these agents. So let's say like you could use Kaleda to combo with Grace or something. Or you could use Lucy to combo with Piper. But that's all you get. That's all you get. Because Ben is also from Bellabog, so he's literally the same agent as her. So yeah, it's really bad for 11. 11 doesn't get that much teams, which is sad. But because she is an attack agent, she has one saving grace for her. Yeah, same with Neko. You can literally run Neko with Jane because of Ching-Yi. Because of Ching-Yi, they actually get carried. But we're talking about all of their other team options, not just the Ching-Yi team. So that means that you literally only have like 1 or 2 good teams with them, and that's it. Compared to the others, where they can literally run whatever they want. So yeah, in general, both of these agents are held back not based off of kit, it's based off of additional. Yeah. And they need their additionals really badly for the most part. For Neko, literally gives her EX damage. And really high EX damage with that. Soldier 11 literally gives high fire damage too on her additional. But they're teams. They're teams. They don't have any teams. Except for Neko maybe. But 11 has no teams. Neko does have some teams, but she can be replaced with other agents. So yeah. Well, I will say this though. Since they are both attack agents, their best team is probably going to be, for Neko specifically, it's going to be Neko, Jane, Seth. That's going to be your best team. Or if you don't want to run Neko without the additional, which I said, which is Jane Seth. If you want to run her with additional Neko, Qingyi, Jane, that's gonna be your best team. Like actually your best team. Qingyi, Jane, Neko. Since Qingyi literally combos with the additional for Neko, Neko gets to sync up with her. And since Neko, her additional syncs up with physical, and Jane is a physical, literally syncs up with Jane. Jane is pubsec, syncs up with Qingyi. So yeah, you literally get the 3 out of 3 with Neko. For 11 doesn't get that much off of Qingyi compared to Neko, because Neko is really great with Assault. So what does 11 have? She has 11 Qingyi and, well, basically any other pubsec agent. So I guess Jane, Jane is probably going to be her best run. Maybe Seth if you want to. But again, 11's best team right now is probably going to be 11 Kaleda Lucy. That is her best team. Yeah, so unlike Neko, who could use Qingyi, it's not really that useful for 11, because literally all you just run is 11 Kaleda Lucy. And if you don't run Kaleda, then you can run Qingyi. So it's literally a Kaleda replacement. So yeah, so 11 Qingyi Lucy or 11 Kaleda Lucy. That's all she gets. So yeah, you see what I mean by their team options are limited? Because they don't really have that much teams. That's it. Yeah, and all the team members that they have, they're not really as strong as they want them to be to basically let them shine. So yeah, maybe in the future version updates when we get more agents in the game, they probably will shine even further, especially in 1.2, since 1.2 we're going to get Caesar and Bernice. So both of these agents are probably going to be bumped up in the top 10 very, very, very soon. Well, keep that in mind. So yeah. And that's basically it for the number 9 spot. Neko and 11. And as for the reasons why they share a spot, they literally both do the same thing. They're literally DPSs on their own field. So for Neko, it's physical. For 11, it's fire. And both of them are similar. They literally do DPS stuff. And they have, well, no teams. Well, at least some of them have no teams. So yeah, it's really, really, really sad. But again, as I said before, all of these agents are close together. They are literally close together. Remember, every single agent is really good. Just keep that in mind. Just because they are at number 9 doesn't mean they are bad. They're actually really, really good, as long as you give them the proper teams. Remember when I said that Neko, Qingyi, and Jane is like really good? It's actually one of the best teams in the game. So yeah, same with 11. 11 Pure Fire is one of the best teams in the game. So yeah, don't judge these agents based off of the tier list placement. They are really, really good in their own right. It's just, again, my silly personal opinion. I will always keep reminding you that. So yeah. Well, anyways, that is number 9, Neko Mada and Soldier 11. So number 8. We have the rich girl of the Sons of Caledon, and also the bike rider of the Sons of Caledon who commands the piglets, Lucy. Yep, Lucy is our number 8 spot. Yep, Luciana de Montefiore is number 8. So why is she number 8? It's because she's a fire support. I will say this right now, since none of the supports have been mentioned in this top 10. Supports are really good in this game. You literally run a support, and all of your DPS and other agents are going to pop off. So supports are going to be highly regarded as probably a really good agent. So yeah, most of the supports in this game are just really, really good. So keep that in mind. So yeah. Well, anyways, Lucy. So what does Lucy do? She literally has one job and one job alone as a support. Give buffs to party members with Cheer On, which scales off of level. So what does Cheer On do? Cheer On literally gives attack to party members. And it's broken. Absolutely busted. And what all you have to do is do EX. Literally 1 EX and you get Cheer On, which is really, really great. It lasts for 10 seconds, but with Mindscape Cinema, it lasts longer. Let's talk about it. We can go over her Mindscape Cinema first before we talk about her kit, because most of her kit is based around Cheer On. So let's talk about it. So MC1, she gets 2 energy. This helps her with EX to refresh Cheer On. For MC2, she literally gets more Cheer On. Yep. For MC4, she literally gets more crit damage on Cheer On. And then in MC6, she can refresh Cheer On as much as she wants. Meaning that she gets infinite Cheer On. Yeah, you literally can do it 3 times. 3 times. Cheer On buff. 3 times. It's broken. Absolutely broken. And on the cherry on top, of course, she has her guard boars. Remember when I said that she owns guard boars? They are actually in her kit. So what do the guard boars do? They literally do damage. They literally do damage for her. So as you see here, guard boars do physical damage. They also scale off of her crit damage as well if, of course, you level up certain things. As you see there, for her core, they literally give her 200% attack for Cheer On, so the guard boars will just be doing more damage. And her additional literally gives the guard boars her crit damage, meaning that the guard boars are going to hit hard. Yeah, so not only is she a summoner with the guard boars, but she is also a buffer because of Cheer On. That is what her main role is. She literally uses guard boars to basically put on the field so they do damage, off-field damage for you, and you literally get Cheer On. Cheer On is her main thing, scales off of level. The more level you have on EX, the more you get on Cheer On. And guess what? I already mentioned it before, all of her MCs buff Cheer On. Her MC6 literally gives her infinite Cheer On. So yeah, that is her main role. So yeah, Lucy is extremely good. Probably one of the best supports in the game because of Cheer On. Cheer On just does so much. Her guard boars are literally a cherry on top, so she can't do off-field damage. So she doesn't slouch on damage either. So yeah, that is her main role. Literally a fire support that literally gives off attack buff. Yeah, an extremely valuable buff for agents for sure, because most of the attack agents in the game, they all scale off of attack. So yeah, more attack, the better. As for Lucy's downsides, it's similar to, again, the trending thing in this video. Teams. It's teams. Yeah, just like Neko and 11, her teams are pretty limited. At least for now in 1.2. Because in 1.1 she has no teams. In 1.2 she does because of Sons of Caledon. But guess who's in the Sons of Caledon as of 1.1? That's all she has. That's all she has. Piper Wheel. Piper Wheel. That's all she has. That's literally her only team member in Sons of Caledon. It's Piper Wheel. That's it. So, because of that, well, let's look at her other additional ability. Attribute. Fire. So, you mainly want to run additional ability because you want the guard boards to do damage, right? As you see here, it inherits both Lucy's crit damage. So, again, one of her team members is Piper. Let's look at her other team members, shall we? It's similar to 11. Remember, you could count these in literally one hand. Kaleda, 11, Ben. That's all she has. That's all she has. Kaleda, 11, Ben. So what does that leave her with? Not that much, really. So, well, again, since she does have ways to split off, she can be ran on multiple teams. And thankfully, unlike Neko and 11, she's actually pretty good on those teams. So let's talk about them. So for, Piper specifically, Piper can branch off to multiple people. She can branch off to Jane. Jane obviously wants attack because the more attack she has, the more assault damage she does. So of course, she can just break off into that. And then they do like a bajillion damage. So yeah. As for her other partners as well, you have Kaleda, which branches off to Grace. Grace can also scale off of attack because you could just do disorder. So yeah, since you have 2 fire agents in the game on that team, you can literally just run burn, and then Grace just does disorder damage, and that disorder damage is going to be doing like a crap ton. Same with 11. 11's best support partner is Lucy. The more attack 11 has, the higher damage she does. So yeah. And as for Ben, Ben is also pretty good too if you want to run him as a main DPS. You can run him with whatever you want. Basically, you can be an impact, he could be a defense character, he could be a attack character. He's literally a jack of all trades. So yeah. But Lucy's best partner, also Ben's best partner is Lucy. But Lucy's overall best partner is probably going to be Kaleda. Kaleda is going to be the main carry for Lucy, and Kaleda can just basically branch off into 11. So yeah, which forms the best fire team. 11, Kaleda, Lucy. So yeah, Lucy is honestly pretty good, even with the limited team she has, which is, well, saying something, unlike the Neko and 11. But because she has so limited teams, that's the reason why she is where she is right now. She is at number 8 because of that. So, I will summarize it again. We're going to be transitioning to the tier list right here. So, the reason why she is number 8 is because, well, she has teams, but she actually has a role in those teams, unlike Neko and 11, who can be replaced ultimately. But, as for, well, Neko's case, she can be replaced. For 11, she has, like, literally no teams. For Lucy, she does have teams, because Sons of Caledon actually has 1 member instead of 11's 0. But, yeah. Lucy is extremely good. But because of her teams, she's just held back. Once Sons of Caledon probably gets released, she's probably going to be bumped up, actually, because Cheer On. Remember, Cheer On MC6, it's infinite. Yeah, so basically assume that Lucy's just going to be extremely good on a Sons of Caledon team. And with that being said, well, she stands where she does right now as of 1.1 because, again, her teams. It's just her teams in general. So, yeah. Well, anyways, that is Lucy at the number 8 spot. And, well, now we're moving on. So, this is going to be basically the cutoff. Well, we are basically at the cutoff point. So, I would say that, well, these teams are actually, well, they are limited to teams, of course. The next couple of characters are not really as team restrictive as the others, as like you see here. So yeah. So at number 7, we have the maid of Victoria Housekeeping, who is also really bad at cooking, Reina, and she shares a same spot with someone else. Yep. Just like Neko and 11, they share the same spot. Also at number 7, we have the rookie officer, who is Jerry, Seth Lowell. So yeah, these two share the same spot at number 7. So, why are these agents in the same spot? They're literally in the same teams. Yep, they're in the same teams. They do the same thing. They are literally supports for the same reasons they are supports. They are supports for those specific teams. And if you were paying attention, you saw that I ranked Reina in Sokaku tier. Not anymore. Because, well, as the game went on, electric units aren't really that needed. And besides, we don't really have a good attack electric unit. But if we do have a good electric attack unit, Reina's going to be bumped up extremely high. So yeah, but as of right now, she doesn't really have that many uses, just like Seth. So yeah, let's talk about him. So, what is Alexandrina Sebastian's main role? Or Sebastina? Well, what is Reina's main role? She's electric support, meaning that she literally is great on electric teams. And let's talk about it. So, one of her main gimmicks is literally to summon Bang Boo on the field. Literally, her core literally does that, as you see there. Increases, Bang Boo does electric damage. Her Bang Boo literally does electric damage, so it benefits her. Pen ratio for team members, as well as, of course, again, Bang Boo. So, as long as her Bang Boo is on the field, you literally get pen ratio. That is her main role as a support. She gives pen ratio for enemies, or for not enemies, but for team members, as you see there. So you literally do 25% pen ratio, plus 12%, of course, on max core level, up to 30, which is really, really, really good. So yeah, it's literally just, you get pen ratio to teammates. And pen ratio, if you guys don't know what pen does, it ignores defense. Yeah, so you literally ignore defense. It's extremely, extremely good. 30% pen ratio is honestly extremely, extremely good. Also, her additional ability, you basically want to run this, especially since you're going to be doing shock a lot on her teams. When you inflict shock, or when the enemy is shocked, you literally get increased electric damage for squad members. So she's literally a bona fide electric support. So that means that you have to run her on electric teams. So that is her main role. She's literally a pen ratio support that gives pen, and her additional ability gives electric damage to all party members. That includes herself, by the way. And let's talk about Seth. So Seth is an electric defense who also has a very similar role to Reyna, as you see here. So let's talk about it. So for Seth, he literally gives AP to party members. Yeah, and he literally gives shield. Yep, so he basically gives shield and he gives AP. That's literally it. That's all he does. So the higher attack you have, the more shield you give to your party members. And of course, the more attack you have, the more AP you could give to your party members, as well as level on core, of course. His additional ability also gets anomaly buildup resistance debuff for all enemies, which is really, really good. And all you need to do is do the finishing move of the basic attack, or do the chain attack, which is extremely easy to get because you're going to be doing chains and basics a lot with them. Because literally, all you have to do to play him is do EX. And then once you do EX, you get 75% meter back, which is, well, right here. I think it's listed in one of these things. I don't think it's... Well, it's literally just... Yeah, it's literally just a meter that you could just use to literally just get all of your things. Yeah, but literally you just do EX or basic to literally just get anomaly build-up res. So how he plays is literally do EX, get enough meter. Once you're at 75% meter, as you see here, 75% resolve, do basic, switch. That's it. That's all you have to do. Either you switch on quick assist, which is mainly going to be, well, for the most part, your anomaly agents, or chain. You can do chain. Once you activate the chain, you can literally chain into your other party member who wants the AP buff. So yeah, that is his main role. He literally gives shield to his party members. So you see the reason why these two are very similar. Seth gives AP to party members. Reyna gives pen to party members. Guess what those two buffs work really well on? Anomaly teams. They are literally both anomaly supports. Reyna and Seth. Because Reyna gives pen for party members, which is great on anomaly because they ignore defense. The more defense they ignore, the more damage they do on their anomaly damage. And because she has electric damage, she tailors towards shock teams. And because, well, since they are going to be shocked, you're going to be doing 10% increased electric damage. So she literally is a shock support. A bona fide shock support. For Seth, he's literally a AP support. Literally anomaly support. Gives shield to party members as well as gives anomaly proficiency of 100 to party members. So guess what? They're literally the same character. So... well, let's talk about their team. So, one of their downsides, or I guess their ultimate downside, is that they only support one team. Yeah, that is their ultimate downside. So, it's not because of lack of teams, it's because they only support one specific type of character. For Reyna, it's electric. She only supports electric. For Seth, he supports AP, or more specifically, anomaly agents. So, what does that mean? So, we can talk about Reyna first, since she is mentioned first, and I did talk about her first. So, what does it mean for Reyna? Reyna only gets electric characters. So, well, she does get Victoria Housekeeping, which is pretty good because you can link up with a lot of good agents in there, like Lycon, who is one of the well, greatest stunners ever made. You got Ellen, who is one of the best DPSs ever. Yeah, so she does have options. You can literally run her on a literal Victoria housekeeping team, and she performs really well because of it. And, well, she's probably going to be carried based off of these two because these two work really well together. So, yeah, Reyna's probably just going to be cheerleader for that team. But, well, if you want to use her at her maximum potential, you have to run her on electric. So, besides running her on a Victoria housekeeping with Ellen, Lycon, and Corin, you can run her on electric. So, what does she have? She has pretty good options. Qingyi, who is pretty great. You got Grace, who is honestly the best agent to pair up with Reyna, because Reyna is an electric pen. Her literally all she does is literally just do anomaly damage. Pen is great for her, literally made for her. So yeah, she also gets Seth, who is pretty good on anomaly. So you can pair both of them together. You can run Ambi, who is a free-to-play stunner, which is pretty good. You got Anton, who specializes in shock teams, and specifically because when the enemy is shocked, he does more damage on shocked enemies. And yeah, that is all of his team options. They are really, really good in general. All of Reyna's teams are pretty good. So yeah. And also, let's talk about Seth, since we did mention Seth in one of Reyna's teams. So besides Reyna, of course, he gets PubSec, and he also gets electric, because I see here attribute and faction. So besides all the electric characters I already mentioned, so he has Shuyan, who is pretty great. He has Qingyi, who is also pretty great. And then you have Jane, who's also pretty great too. All of these agents are really, really good. So Seth has pretty good options, except that he doesn't fit well with specifically Shuyan, because Shuyan is a DPS. A DPS tailored to attack, crit rate, crit damage. He supports off of AP. Remember that. AP. So what does he truly pair up with? Jane. So, the best possible team that you can run with Seth is Jane, Seth, Qingyi. That is literally his best team, because he gives AP to Jane. Qingyi does her stuff, literally just gets shock damage, of course. And then once they're in shock, you can literally just use Jane to do all the damage for you. So yeah, literally tailor-made for that team. Literally, PubSec is his best team. As for his other teams, he can run Grace, which is pretty good, because Grace is also Anomaly, which gives him pretty good value, because he gives AP to party members, as you see there. Which means that Grace can also combo well with other characters like Kaleda. Yes, you can run Kaleda on the team. So yeah, he does have pretty good, nice options to open up with. With Anby, of course, he gets access to Cunning Hairs. And with Reyna, he gets access to, of course, Victoria housekeeping. Same with Reyna. Of course, Reyna also gets good options too, because she is an electric character, and also because she shares the same faction. So for Reyna, she gets Ellen, which also opens up to Sokaku. Sokaku is one of the best supports in the game. Lycon, of course, he also gets Sokaku, of course. With Corin, she gets access to physical characters like Piper, like Jane. Jane is pretty good. You could also get other agents as well. And because she's electric, she also gets access to Qingyi, which is pretty good as well. So yeah, in general, she just gets a lot of good stuff. Same with Seth, of course. But since they are tailor-made for specifically Anomaly teams, well, we already discussed about Seth's best team. What is Reyna's best team? Reyna's best team is all electric. Yep, that is her best team. You can literally run Reyna, Grace, and whatever you want. Yep, because they pair up with each other so much. So you can literally run Reyna, Grace, Jane, which is pretty good. You could actually run that as a legitimate comp. It is pretty good. You can run, of course, you can run Reyna, Anton, Grace, because Anton is a shock DPS, of course, so you can just run Anton. So yeah, she really has like extremely good teams. You can run all electric, you can branch off, and she performs great, of course. But until we get an actual great electric DPS. She's probably just gonna be sitting there. As for Seth, he is at the top of his game right now. He actually has pretty good stuff, but because the fact that he only supports Anomaly because of AP, that's what really holds him back. But as for Reina, she's only held back because, well, they don't have really good teams. They don't have that many good teams in general. But because of the teams that she is on, that specifically help with, again, damage, she can have like at least a few teams that can help her, like Anton or Chingy or etc. So yeah, she basically does have options for her, and she can continue to grow as long as she gets more options, of course. So yeah, unlike Seth where he needs anomaly agents. But for Reina, she has potential to grow, but as of right now, she shares the same spot with Anton. So yeah, that's the reason why I ranked her down, for a reason, because she doesn't have that many great teams, besides like the ones like on the top right there, and she has potential to grow, of course. So yeah, well, by the time maybe like 1.3 or 1.4 comes out, she might be bumped up, who knows. But as of right now, shares the same spot with Seth. Literally, they share well, the same teams. You literally run them the same way too. They are literally supports for those anomaly teams. So yeah, in general, number 7 is Reina Seth. So yeah, and now it's time to move on to the, well, top 6 through 0. So at this point onwards, this is literally just really good characters at this point. Yeah, really, really good. Literally, they have like little to no downsides, of course, other than teams, obviously. But the teams that they are featured in are extremely, extremely busted. So yeah, well, without out of the way, let's just talk about it. So at number 6, we have the CEO and the president of Belobog Industries, Kaleda Belobog. Kaleda Belobog is honestly one of the best fire agents in the game, if not the best fire agent in the game. She is literally her. She's her. She's broken. Absolutely busted beyond belief. Literally extremely good. And as when 1.2 is gonna come out, she's gonna be bumped up even further. I will guarantee you that. She is gonna be bumped up further because of Bernice. So yeah. Well, let's talk about Kaleda. So what is Kaleda? We already briefly talked about her, so I guess I could just give you a fast rundown on her. So Kaleda is literally just a Daze DPS or Daze stunner who literally specializes in furnace fire stacks. Yep. So what that means is that all of her stun is based around furnace fire. Her core literally tells you that. Yeah, as you see there, when you use EX or you do furnace fire, you literally get enhanced basic attacks of 60% for days. So literally all your attacks do 60% days. When her additional ability activates, when you do EX, you could literally debuff the target and you do 35% more damage, which stacks up to 2 times. Yeah, it's really, really busted. So not only does she stun enemies really, really well because of the basic attacks, which means that she's going to be stunning the enemy fast as long as you have furnace fire stacks, of course. She literally gets debuffs. You can literally debuff the enemy and then you do like a bajillion damage. So yeah, she is extremely, extremely busted. Literally, this stacks up to 2 times 70% damage. Think about that. As long as you hit an opponent with her EX. That is busted. That is super, super busted. Literally, all you have to do is do EX, do normals, and you do like a crap ton of damage. You could literally run Kaleda as a main DPS. Yeah, I'm not joking. You could literally do that. And she performs really well if she is the main DPS. But her main role is stun, and well, she's pretty good at it. Literally like one of the best stunners in the game because of how her core works. Literally 60% days. EX literally gives you furnace fire. All you have to do is literally just do basics and you're good. Yeah, there goes all your days. So that is her main role. That is Kaleda's main role. Literally do furnace. Literally try to get your furnace fire as fast as you can, whether it be EX or chain. Chain. Yep, chain also gives her furnace fire to do basics to just stun the enemy really fast. So yeah, and most of the time in Shiyu defense, you're gonna be getting your EX right away. So she's gonna be starting to stun right away. So yeah, it's extremely, extremely beneficial for her to get Furnace Fire, because once you get Furnace Fire, her core kicks in, and when her core kicks in, her basic attacks do a ton of stun. So yeah, that is mainly it. So that is the good sides. Her other good side is the team she's in. Yep. Her only downside is that she's not in much teams. Yep. She's really good in all of them. Literally a team player on almost any team that she's in. It's just that she's not featured in much teams. Similar to basically Seth and Reina, who are pretty good in their teams, but they're not featured in a lot. Kaleda is in the same boat, except that Kaleda is a stunner. So she gets more value because literally stunners, again, as I said before, they're the backbone of this game. If you stun the enemy, you do more damage. The more damage you do, the faster the enemy dies, literally. So yeah. So what are her teams? So besides the fire ones I mentioned before, 11, Lucy, Ben, of course, she gets Bellabog Industries. So that means she gets, I already said mentioned before, Ben, Anton, and then of course Grace, her big sis. So what does that mean? She literally gets access to extremely good teams because of that. Literally. I'm not joking. She literally gets extremely good teams because of that. So she gets Grace, obviously. What does Grace give you access to? Jane. Yep, Jane. And you already know Jane is pretty good, right? So yeah. Also, what does Lucy give you access to? Piper was also pretty good too on Anomaly teams, of course, if you want to run a free-to-play team. Literally one of our best free-to-play teams, by the way, Lucy, Piper. You get 11, of course. 11 is a great fire DPS, and guess what? She supports 11 in her damage as well, thanks to her core. Yep, her additional ability, which gives her more attacks on chains. Yep, and guess what? 11 is going to be doing a lot. Chains to get to her normals. Yep, pretty good, right? So yeah, in general, Kaleda has pretty good teams, except that she's not in that much because, again, Fire Bellabog. So she doesn't really have that much good teams. The good teams she is on, though, are really good. And in 1.2, she's going to be getting even more teams. So yeah, Kaleda's just going to be growing even further. But as of right now, since she doesn't really have that many teams, even though they are pretty good in their own right, she sits at number 6. Because she sits at number 6, well, the reason why is because, again, she doesn't have that many good teams. And the teams that she is in, well, again, are extremely good. Well, I said that wrong, but she literally has extremely good teams. They're just not that much. There you go. That's how I would word it. So she just has extremely good teams. Yeah, but she doesn't have that many like team options. That's what I'm trying to say there. So yeah. So there is Grace at number 6. Not Grace. Kaleda. My bad. Kaleda, the little sister of Grace, at number 6. There we go. Okay. So now we can move on. So at number, well, 5. At number 5, we basically have, well, at this point, we have like characters with really good teams. So yeah. Just like Kaleda. So at number 5, we have the big sis of Kaleda, who is also the technician of the Bellabog Industries company, Grace Howard. Yep, Grace Howard, everyone. She is at number 5. So, what does Grace do? I already mentioned it before in some of the previous placings for these agents, but Grace is literally a shock DPS. Yep, she's a shock DPS. Literally, her main job and her main role is to apply shock, so you do a bunch of shock damage. That's literally all her gameplay is. I'm not joking. Literally, all you have to do is build AP and then do shock damage. That's it. That's all she does. She's literally electric anomaly for a reason. So let's talk about it. So her core literally gives her electric anomaly. The more electric you have, the more damage you do. It's extremely basic, really, but look at that. Special EX, Literally consumes all stacks, and then all those stacks will get 130% electric anomaly. Yep, pretty busted. Her additional is also pretty good too, which also cements her as a shock DPS, because you literally, all you do is EX. And then your shock damage is increased by 18%, which stacks up to 2 times. Yep. That is busted! And all she has to do is do normals. Yep, all she has to do is do normals, EX, normals, EX, normals, EX. Or you can do normal, special, normal, special. She builds it up fast. She fills it up super fast because of electric anomaly buildup right here. 130% on max core, meaning that she's just gonna be doing a ton of shock damage. She's gonna be popping off like crazy. So yeah, it's just really busted. And let's talk about her special, shall we? Since it is part of her main kit. Literally, you just throw grenades. Literally throw grenades, and then they do like so much shock. They literally do so much anomaly buildup. Scales off of level, by the way. The more level you have on your EX, the more damage it does, and also the more shock it does. Yep. Really broken. Same with normals. Normals is pretty broken because you could just do electric damage too. So yeah, it's pretty busted. And she can semi-auto dodge because you could, well, reposition her with movement. Of course, you can move left to move her left. You can move right to move her right. She can literally reposition herself. Yep, really busted. Also, her dodge counter also does electric damage too, which helps with the shock. So yeah, you can literally, all you have to do is put her on the field, just get shock, and then that's it. That's all she does, and then you can just do shock again and do like a bajillion damage. So yeah, that is what Grace's gameplay is. Basically, she just is a shock DPS. That's all she is. So what are her, well, downsides? Not that much, really. The only downside I would say for her is that her teams are great, but not as great as the other teams. Yep, she is actually extremely good, but not extremely good enough to, well, I guess I would say, like, be competing with the other best teams in the game, because the other best teams in the game probably might out damage her, especially if Grace is probably not fully built. So yeah, well, let's talk about her teams, shall we? Her teams are actually extremely good, which is her upside, of course. So of course, since she is anomaly right here, anomaly, she also is electric, and she shares Bellabog. She gets the Bellabog people, of course. Kaleda, who we mentioned before, is extremely good stunner. You got Anton, who's extremely great on shock teams. And we also have Ben, who is a jack of all trades, just in case you don't have Kaleda. But well, besides the Bellabogs, you have the electrics like Reyna, Seth, and Qingyi. Qingyi, yes, you could run her with Qingyi and she performs fine. So, Grace has pretty great options, actually. Her teams are actually pretty good, and she has a lot of them. You could run Grace, Qingyi, Jane. That's a team. You could run Grace, Kaleda, Lucy. That's a pretty great team, too. You could run Grace, Kaleda, 11. That's a pretty good team. You could run Grace, Kaleda, Reyna. Yep. You have so much options. Literally have so much options. If you're free to play, you could run Grace, Anby, Nicole, which opens you up with cunning hairs. So yeah, she's extremely good. So yeah, Grace has so much good teams. It's just that she doesn't have like the great teams. You know what I mean? She doesn't have like the great teams, unlike some of the others that I'm going to be mentioning up more on the list. So yeah. Her teams are pretty great, just not as great as the others, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that's basically Grace in a nutshell. She's extremely great on shock teams, specifically for shock DPSs, of course. She has pretty great team options. It's just that her team options, of course, are not as good as the other team options out there. So yeah, that's what cements her as the number 5 spot for me. But she is still pretty good. Again, I will keep drilling it in your heads. These agents are close together for a reason, because they're extremely good. So yeah, they're not, so Grace compared to Kaleda is not really that far off. Same with Reyna, of course, not really far off. Seth's not really far off either. So yeah. Well, anyways, That is Grace at number 5. So now we basically are at the top 5 in the game. Yep, the top 5 in the game. These agents are so busted. They are super, super busted. This is the point where, well, everything is literally thrown out the window because of how good they are and because of how important they are in this game. These last few agents are extremely important to the game. All you have to do is run them and they make your life easier. 100% they make your life easier. So, with that being said, at number 4, we have the leader of the Cunning Hares, Nicole Damara. Nicole Damara is our number 4 spot. So, what does Nicole do? Nicole is one of the most important characters in this game to run. The reason why is because of a useful, and I mean very, very useful and valuable skill in this game. So, remember when I said that stun is also the backbone of this game? That is not the backbone, because another backbone in this game are crowd controllers. Since shield defense literally loves to throw mob fights in your face most of the time, you're gonna be needing AoE crowd controllers to crowd control them, to put them in one spot so you have an easier time with your life. Nicole is a crowd controller. That literally puts her above all the rest because of that. But that's not the reason why she's good. Well, that is the main reason, but that's not all the reasons why she's good. She is literally a support tailored for specifically quick swap teams, which are pretty good. And also, defense res. Defense res. She's one of the few agents in the game who literally reduce defense for you. The only other one is Reyna, which is pen ratio. Nicole literally does this, and all she has to do is click once. Yep, she clicks once. Literally, all you have to do is do one basic or one dash. 40% defense res for 3.5 seconds. So, even though it is pretty short, 3.5 seconds, guess what that combos with? It combos with a quick DPS. Basically, one that does like all her damage like right away. Guess what her best partner is? Enough said. Besides that, she also gets additional ability as well, which tailors for, again, 3.5 seconds, 25% ether damage to all party members, as long as, of course, you put the debuff on the enemy, aka doing special EX ultimate to get basic attacks, and then when you do enhanced bullets, you literally get defense reduction of 40%. Yep. So, she gets 25% more ether damage. Again, literally made for her. So, she literally gives off ether damage for free. And that's busted AF. That is extremely, and I mean extremely busted AF. And of course, as I said before, she's a great crowd controller. Literally, when you hold E, or when you press E, you're invulnerable. You're invulnerable when you do the attack. It's busted. It's super, super busted. And she literally shoots a black hole that sucks in all the enemies. Literally one of the best crowd controllers in the game. All you have to do is click one button. That's it. That's all you have to do. Well, once you click one button, they're all gonna die. Yeah, it's extremely busted. And since her EX lasts for a pretty long time, especially in MC6, you're literally gonna get corruption. Yep, the corruption effect. Based off of course, anomaly buildup, of course. But, because she gets corruption, guess what that also combos well with? Yeah, so Nicole is literally one of the best ether supports in the game because of this. Like, literally, the best ether support in the game. The best ether support in the game because of this. Literally, all of her skills don't matter, except for maybe Chain, because Chain literally shoots the EX. So yeah, what you're mainly going to be doing is EX chain, and then basic, of course, to combo with the core, because the core activates her additional. And you're going to be running her additional anyway, because you want to run her additional, because ether damage, of course. You want more ether damage. That is her main role. And her MC enhances that even further. So let's talk about it. MC1, increase EX damage. And remember, her EX lasts for a long time. It's extremely good. Also, the duration gets increased too. Yep, pretty busted. MC2 literally gets 5 energy back, which meaning that you could spam EX. You could spam EX more. MC4 generates an increased range, aka making a big black hole instead of like a well, semi-big black hole. You can literally make the black hole 3 meters larger. Yep, that's extremely broken. It means that you could suck in more enemies who are basically out of your range, which is pretty good. MC6, increase crit rate up to 10 times as long as you do damage. Her energy field specifically, so you have to do EX, but EX literally gives party members crit rate. It gives her a lot of crit rate. It means that all your party members are just gonna be critting a lot as long as Nicole's on the team. So yeah, you don't even need her additional ability at that point, because her MC6 literally gives crit rate for free. Crit rate for free, and her base core gets defense reduction. So yeah, she's extremely good in non-ether teams. It's extremely busted. So, what are Nicole's downsides? None. Yeah, I'm saying that right now. She has none. Because you literally run her, and she is basically irreplaceable. Yes, I literally mean it. She's literally irreplaceable. On one of the best teams in the game. Shuiyan, Chingyi, Nicole. That is the best ether team in the game. And also a contender for one of the best teams in the game. Yeah, she is literally irreplaceable in most teams because of how her kit works. She's literally an AoE crowd controller, which means that she's extremely valuable in shield defense. She gets defense reduction, which is pretty good on, again, agents that use DPS stuff. Her MC6 gives crit rate for party members, which is great for DPSs, especially those who want the crit rate to do their crit damage. And, well, we only mentioned one of her teams, so let's talk about her team, shall we? We haven't talked about that yet, right? So her additional ability is Attribute and Faction. Ether, Support. So there's only 2 Ether characters in the game right now, herself and Shuiyan. But the fact that Shuiyan exists anyway as an Ether DPS literally helps Nicole. Because, well, Shuiyan is a quick DPS, meaning that all she does is just do charges on enhanced shot shells, and she literally does that. She literally swaps in and out, which is perfect for a quick swap character like Nicole. Literally, all you have to do is do basic, and then you go into Shuiyan, do like 3 bullets, and then go back to Nicole, do it again, and yeah, so on and so forth. And of course, since she is an Ether character, Shuiyan, she gets the Ether damage support off of Nicole. And because of Nicole, assuming that she is MC6, gives her more crit rate, meaning that she's just going to be doing a lot of crit damage. Yep. And since, well, Chingyi is mostly going to be on the team with you, you're just going to be doing more damage because of stun damage multiplier. So yeah, even more busted. Even the free-to-play team is pretty good. Because, since she is part of Cutting Hairs, you can run Anby. Anby. Yes, you can run Anby. You can literally run Nicole Anby. Nicole sucks them up. Anby does EX. Shuiyan blasts them. Yeah. That was the 1.0 team. And that was one of the best teams in the game. Literally, Shuiyan, Nicole, Anby. That was one of the best 1.0 teams in the game. Yeah. You see why Nicole is pretty good? She doesn't have any downsides because all her teams are pretty good. No matter where you run her on, she's pretty good. So, well, time to talk about Cutting Hairs. Nekomata. Nekomata wants to land EX, right? On Assault, of course. So, what can you run? You can run Nicole to crowd control them for you. Yeah. And if you want Assault, you run Piper. You could literally run Nicole, Piper, Neko, and that could probably carry you through the game. That's how good it is. Yep. I am not joking. That is extremely good to run. So yeah, Nicole has a lot, and I mean a lot of options. And well, if you are going to be running Ambi, you get access to electric characters. Reina, Anton. Yep, Seth. You can run Seth too if you want. Yep, you have a lot of options, and she's pretty good in those teams too. So yeah, she's literally irreplaceable. Literally irreplaceable on any of those teams because of how her kit works. She is literally an AoE crowd controller, which debuffs the enemy. She doesn't really need her additional ability anyway if you are going to be running her on non-ether teams. But if you run her on an ether team, which is the only other ether character right here, Shuiyan doesn't want to give up Nicole. Keep that in mind. Shuiyan never, ever wants to give up Nicole. Because Nicole literally benefits her. And that is why Nicole is where she is. She's at number 4, specifically for that reason, and that reason alone. Nicole is a AoE crowd controller, which is great for shield defense. Supports one of the best DPSs in the game, Shuiyan. She literally fits on mostly every team in the game because of how her kit works. Enough said. Enough said. Nicole is busted. That's all I'm gonna say. So, now, moving on. Number 3. Number 3 is also pretty busted too. She has pretty limited teams, of course, but the team that she is on is one of the best teams in the game. And if she does get the help she deserves, she can become even more broken. So let's talk about it, shall we? At number 3, we have the food-loving Oni of Section 6. Sokaku. Sokaku is our number 3. So, what does Sokaku do? Sokaku is literally the ice support for the team. Literally bona fide ice support. And guess where ice is right now? It's one of the best teams in the game. Yeah. Just like Nicole, right here, who has one of the best teams in the game with Ether, Sokaku has the best ice team in the game, which also dominates shield defense. So, you might be wondering, since they both share the same role, why is Sokaku better than Nicole in your opinion? Her buffs last longer. Yeah, you literally can run her comfortably compared to Nicole. Because Nicole only has 3.5 seconds to give her buffs. As you see here, 3.5, 3.5. For her crit rate on MC6, 12 seconds. Yep. They're not really that long. Compared to Sokaku, who is absolutely busted. Well, let's talk about it, shall we? So, her main role is to give attack to party members. Similar to, well, a certain other agent that gives attack to party members, Lucy with Cheer On. Except that with Sokaku, it's a different story. So, Sokaku, unlike Lucy, has a really good team. Lucy, on the other hand, all she has is Soldier 11, and Soldier 11 is kind of inconsistent compared to her other attack counterpart of the Ice team, Ellen Jo. And Ellen Jo is pretty consistent. So yeah, unlike 11, of course. But what makes Sokaku extremely good? She gives attack to all party members, can literally double her attack to give 1,000 attack for all party members, which is extremely good. Flight of Flag is extremely busted too, because as long as you do that, you literally give buffs to your party members. And she can get it to herself too. You can literally run her as a main DPS. Yep, you can run Sokaku as a main DPS. Because of her MC6. Her MC6 is actually ridiculous to the reason why you could actually run her as a main. But let's talk about her core for now. So she literally gives off 1,000 attack. Great, right? That's not all. She gives ice damage 20% for 22 seconds. This is not considering MC, by the way. Yes, I did say not considering MC. Yes, she literally gets this off of MC0. 1,000 attack and 20% ice damage for all party members. This makes her one of the best ice supports in the game, if not the best. This also makes her one of the best supports in the game too, if not the best support in the game. Yeah, she's literally the best support character in the game because she gives 1,000 attack to all party members. 1,000! There's no other agent besides Lucy, of course, who doesn't give 1,000. But for Lucy, as you see here, for Cheer On, it only lasts around 10 seconds, right? 10 seconds. So Kaku's lasts for 22! 20, that's double! That's double! 1,000 attack for all party members. That's double the attack. Double the attack. Also, double the time. 1,000 attack. You don't really even need to run additional, just like Nicole. You don't even need to run additional to make her good. She's extremely good. Also, if you have played her before, you know that her chain does the spin attack, right? It's her ultimate animation. That's an AoE crowd control. Yep, that move. That particular move is an AoE crowd control move. Yeah, you could literally use that as an AoE crowd control. And, of course, since she uses support, you can quick assist. So you can quick assist into Ellen, Lycon, anyone really who combos well into her. Yeah, she is extremely busted because of that. Her EX, of course, does a lot of damage. She gets interruption resistance, so she can't just do her, she can just get her vortex stacks. By the way, in order to get the 1,000 attack, you just have to consume vortex stacks, which is pretty easy to get, because all you have to do is land EX. That's it. That's all you have to do. You have to do 3 or 2, depending on how many vortex stacks you get, to get the fly the flag. So all you have to do is hold E to do fly the flag, which doesn't consume any energy, by the way. You can literally do it as soon as you get 3 vortexes. Once you get 3 vortexes, you get 1,000 attack. You get a quick swap into another party member to give them the attack buff. That's it. So, because of that, she's just super busted. Her EX literally gives her anomaly buildup. It gives her so much anomaly buildup. It scales off of level 2, by the way. So the more level you have, the higher anomaly buildup she gets on EX, which is extremely busted. She also gets massive ice damage for 45 seconds, meaning that if you do run her as a main DPS, she could literally main DPS for you for 45 seconds. And it's pretty easy to get all of her stacks in, all of her vortexes, because guess what her level up stat is? Energy regen. That's her core skill. Energy regen. Literally fuels her EX. So she's never going to run out of energy. And besides, if you do chain with her, you get 1 vortex stack for free. Yep, 1 vortex stack for free. As long as you do chain. It's extremely, extremely busted. Super, super broken, honestly. And the cherry on top, it does freeze because of the high anomaly buildup she gets on EX. So it's extremely busted. You can also give her a lot of damage too, since she is going to be benefiting off of ice damage and the 1,000 attack, which is extremely dumb, by the way, which is extremely, extremely broken. And let's talk about our MC, shall we? It's honestly some of the most broken MCs I've ever seen. It's extremely, extremely broken. So Kaku's MC, it's dumb. So right here, additional 8 seconds on core passive and additional. Remember when I said that those 2 buffs were 22 seconds? It's 30 now. It's 30. That's the longest. That's one of the longest attack buffs in the game. You can literally do fly the flag with all 3 vortex stacks, switch into your DPS, mainly going to be Ellen, and forget about it for 30 seconds. Unlike, let's say, well, let's give an example. Lucy, where you have to periodically do EX, of course, And in order for you to basically get infinite cheer on anyway, you have to get her MC6. So Kaku gets it at MC1. MC1. Yeah. And also, since it lasts for a pretty long time, you don't have to swap to Lucy too often. You literally just forget about Sokaku. Literally, you don't even have to level her up. All you have to do is just give her high attack, give her good discs, level her up, but don't level up her skills, and literally just forget about her. She's that, like, easy to build. Literally just give her high attack, and that's it. The more attack you have, the higher attack you give to your party members. So, yeah. MC2. 50% chance to give you Vortex. Yep. For free! For free. And if you do have the max Vortex stacks, which is 3, you get energy instead, meaning that you could do more EXs, which is most of the time anyway. So yeah, it's extremely, extremely busted, especially if you are running a main DPS Sokaku, because all you have to do is do basic, dash, dodge, or quick assist. And you get a 50% chance to get stack once per second. So you can literally do basic, 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 and you can probably get all 3 Vortex stacks, which is dumb. So yeah, pretty great for main DPS Sokaku mains. For MC4, you literally get Ice Res Shred. Ice Res Shred on an Ice team. Remember that all her kit is based around Ice team? Yep, this is a cherry on top too. 10% Ice Res, because why not? MC6 literally gives her more attack damage. More attack damage! Busted. Busted. Absolutely broken. And 45% more damage, by the way. So you can literally run her as a main DPS. You can literally do, if you are going to be running Sokaku as support, you can literally do Fly the Flag. And then when you do a basic, you can do the spin attack. You can do the spin attack. That is dumb. That is super, super dumb. Yeah, you can literally just do Fly the Flag, and then you could do the spin attack. And that counts towards that damage. So yeah, and since you are still able to do quick assist with that, you could literally do that, and then you could switch, and then they do like a bajillion damage. Yep. It doesn't even have to be like on-field Sokaku. She could literally just be off-field damage. And it benefits her. Yeah. So, that is all of her upsides. I talked about a lot of her upsides. What are her downsides? None. The only downside I could think of is that she has no teams. Yeah, she has no teams, but the team that she's on is one of the best teams in the game. And besides, if she does get a Section 6 character, just like 11, because 11 has no agents on her team. Same with Sokaku. Sokaku's the only agent in Section 6. But if they do get help, they're probably going to be bumped up even further. Yep. And Sokaku, as you see there, is number 4 for a reason. Sokaku. Well, at least like number 4 to number 3. I would say that Nicole and Sokaku are pretty similar, but because Sokaku is just way too good. The fact that you could run her comfortably, you could do whatever you want with her. You can literally put her off field, because why not? Because you have 30 seconds of buffs anyway. She literally is in the best team in the game. Ellen, Lycon, Sokaku. You can also run Reina if you want, by the way, and Korin. Korin definitely does benefit off of Sokaku, because Sokaku gives attack. And guess what DPSs need? Attack. Yeah. So, on the one team she is on, it's the best team in the game. It's one of the best teams in the game. Because of that, and because of how long her buffs are, and because of how comfortable you can play her, unlike Nicole, that puts her at number 3. Yep. Sokaku, one of the best supports in the game. Also, the best A rank in the game. Besides Nicole, of course. Nicole is also one of the best A ranks in the game. But it was pretty hard to decide whether Sokaku is better or Nicole's better. But the fact that you can play Sokaku more comfortably than Nicole, I would say Sokaku is definitely the better choice, in my opinion. So, yeah. And now, The top 3! Yes, or in this case, number 2, number 1, and number 0. So, let's talk about it. Okay. We only have 3 slots left. So, what could be these 3 slots, you wonder? Well, now this is the point where, everyone is broken. Yeah, this is where there's no downsides. So, of course, Sokaku and Nicole had no downsides, technically. The only downside is that they're only ran on, like, one team, of course. But with these agents, you can run them on multiple teams, and they have no downsides. So, at number 2, we have the boss of Victoria Housekeeping, Von Lycon. Von Lycon is our number 2 spot. So, what does Von Lycon do? Von Lycon is an ice stunner. Remember when I said that stuns are the backbone of this game? Yeah, keep that in mind. So, what does Von Lycon do? He is a debuffer. Yep, he's an actual debuffer. So, when you do EX, you can literally do ice damage res shred. That benefits Ellen, who is also part of his team, and Sokaku, if you run her as a main DPS, of course. But she also benefits off of this, even if she is just a bonified support, because you get ice damage res shred. Extremely busted. Also, since he is a stunner, he gets an extremely broken core passive with 80% days on basics. And remember what I said with Lycon in the Anby placement? All of his stun are on basics. Same with EX. EX gives him stun. So, what his main ability is literally just to stun the enemy as fast as you can. And he does that pretty well. He has unconditional, and I mean unconditional stun. Unlike Anby and Kaleda, who rely on EX. For Kaleda, all she has to do is do EX and basics, but she still, in the end, has to rely on EX or chain. Lycon doesn't need that. He doesn't need EX or basic. Or no, not EX. EX or chain. He doesn't need EX or chain. Because his basics already give him the kit. It literally gives him what he needs to do the stun. That's it. You can literally start with 0 energy, and he can literally stun the enemy. Whereas, let's say, Anby, you have to do like 3 hits into charge. For Kaleda, you have to build up energy really fast for her. Lycon doesn't need that. Lycon, literally, all he has to do is do charge attacks. And that's it. So, his additional ability is also pretty great too. You also might want to run him with this because it's extremely good. You can increase its stun damage multiplier. Remember when I said that stun agents are the backbone? It's because of the specifically the stun damage multiplier mechanic. So what does that mean? So if you guys haven't used stun damage multiplier in your teams before, what those do is basically when the enemy is stunned, they have a number that is below their health bar and their stun bar that tells you how much more damage you could do on the enemy. In this case, the default is 150%. With Lycon, it's literally 200 plus. You can literally do 200 plus % more damage if the enemy is stunned. This means that he is a great debuffer. On top of what he gets on core. Ice damage res shred. This means that specifically Ellen is going to be popping off like crazy because of that. So, on top of Lycon doing EX, of course, he also gets, well, stunned damage multiplier increase as long as you hit a stunned enemy. That is dumb. Because all he has to do is literally just do one basic and then you could just go into Sokaku. Yep. You can literally do one basic or go into Ellen. Either way, he's just going to be doing a ton of damage. It's dumb. It's absolutely dumb. It's broken beyond belief. Stun damage multiplier, by the way. No condition. All he has to do is literally just hit the stun enemy and that's it. That makes him one of the best debuffers in the game. On top of his EX, of course, his EX literally does so much stun for him. It literally builds up stun meter so fast. He gains invincibility, by the way. Invincibility on EX, so you can literally power through a lot of really, really powerful attacks like Han's spin attack or Thanatos triple attack. You can literally invul your way out of those attacks. That is extremely busted. So he has a way to dodge, basically, without doing dodge. It's extremely busted. Because of the increased days, 80%, with the ice damage res shred, and as well as his additional ability of 35% increased stun damage multiplier, he's just too good. He's just way too good. He is so busted. Absolutely broken. Remember, he was the best 1.0 stunner in the game. Yeah. And he was also considered one of the best agents in the game because of that. He is super, and I mean super, super broken. So, what are his downsides? He has none. Just like the others. Yep. The team that he's mainly featured on is, of course, Ellen, Lycon, Sokaku. That is the ice team. Because he, well, literally, his core literally tells you. Ice damage res shred. Yep. That's the only reason why you want to run him on an ice team. Because with the ice damage res shred, you can have Sokaku pop off. You can have Ellen pop off. Yeah, either way, these two are just going to pop off. Because of that. He also gets Victoria Housekeeping too. So he gets, of course, Corrin, Reina. Corrin helps, well, Lycon helps Corrin, actually. Because, remember, Lycon gives 35% stun damage multiplier. Which means that Corrin's going to pop off. Yep. Corrin is going to pop off. And because Corrin is physical, she can branch out to other characters too. So yeah, you can branch out to Piper. You can branch out to Nekomata for a double DPS team. You can branch out to basically whatever you want. Also with Reina, since Reina is also part of Victoria Housekeeping, you can branch off into electric characters like Anton or Anby for a main DPS Lycon or something like that. Seth, maybe. Or Grace. Yep, you can basically branch off into whatever you want. And Lycon's going to be irreplaceable because of how great a stunner is. He is just super, super busted. Super broken. There's nothing for me to say, but he's just great. He's super great. No downsides. Like, literally no downsides. He's, like, whatever team you put him on, he's going to be performing great. So, yeah. With that being said, well, that is basically the number 2 spot right there. We have Lycon. Von Lycon. So, yeah. So, now we have 2 more spots left. So, the reason why... Well, the number 1 spots. I gotta explain something. So, the reason why these agents... Yes, I said agents, meaning plural... are better than Lycon is because they are literally the backbone of their teams. Without them, the damage won't be there. So, with that being said... This is shared with 3 characters in the game. So, the first agent, at number 1, well, I'm already hovering over her, is the Shark Maid, the Shark Thyron Maid of Victoria Housekeeping, Ellen, as the representative of the Ice team. The second character is the representative of the Ether team, who is the captain of the Special Investigations of PubSec, Shuiyon. And the third is the secret agent of PubSec, who is the representation of the Physical and Anomaly team, Jane Doe. Yes, these 3 share the same spot because they literally do the same thing. They all do damage and they're all equal. None of them are, well, better than each other. None of them are worse than each other. They're literally the same. Yes. I know that Jane is pretty easy to play, yes, but consider Ellen and Shuiyon as well, because Shuiyon does so much damage on her ether bullets. Literally extremely busted, can literally carry you through the game. Ellen can literally carry you through the game too. Yeah. It's not just Jane. It's literally all 3. All 3 could literally carry your account. That's how good they are. Literally, all you have to do is run them as solo, or you can run them with a teammate. Literally carries your account for free. Yep, they are just that good. They are super, super, super busted. So, let's talk about him. So I'm gonna be going over firstly Ellen, since Ellen is firstly released, and then Shueyan because she's second to release, and then Jane, of course, which is the recent character. So yeah, well, Ellen. What does Ellen do? Ellen is a ice attack. Her main damage roll is literally just to do ice damage. All of her core, all of her skills, everything that she is based off of literally does ice damage. You think I'm joking? 100% crit damage on basic attacks. Literally, your Arctic Ambush literally gives you so much damage. Arctic Ambush, by the way, if you guys don't know what Arctic Ambush is, it's literally just her dash attack. Yeah, it's her dash attack. So, it's her Scissor Strike. So, if you press it, you get 1 flash freeze stack. If you hold it, you get 3. So, what your main role for Ellen is to get as much flash freeze stacks as you can to do basic attacks. That is all of her damage. And of course, she's really good at it because 100% crit damage. Remember what her partners are, by the way. All of these partners. Ice damage buff. High attack buff. Ice res shred. Increased stun damage multiplier. All these things benefit Ellen. And Ellen's just gonna be destroying everyone in her path because of it. So, we haven't even talked about her additional ability yet. So, besides on top of the, the enhanced basic attacks that she gets, thanks to the 100% crit damage, she gets ice damage increase up to 10 times for 10 seconds. 30% ice damage bonus. Literally, all she has to do is do ice damage. That's it. So you can do basics, you can do whatever you want, as long as it's ice damage, you could literally reset the duration of the buff. Which means that she's just gonna get this all the time. Yeah, I mean, is there really nothing to be said here? Is there really more to be said? There's nothing. She's just that good. She's just super good. 100% crit damage, 30% ice damage as long as you keep the buff up. Basics do a crap ton of damage, of course, scaled off of level. Her ice freeze thing, her Arctic Ambush, literally gives her more flash freeze stacks. You can literally just do a lot of things. Flash freeze, you can have up to 6. So you can literally do 6 normal attacks, aka 2 sets of full combos. Her EXs literally lead into third basic. That's how important her third basic is because of her core level. So you can literally do tail swipe into third basic. You can do EX into third basic. So basically tail swipe Sharknami into basic. Or if you're MC1, which this doesn't count by the way. This is just basically I'm just throwing this for food for thought. You can literally do 3 basics into Sharknami into basic into Sharknami into basic. Yeah, keep that in mind. You could literally do that on MC1. But we're talking about MC0 Ellen, and she performs fine anyway. You can literally do tail swipe Sharknami, or tail swipe into third hit of flash freeze trimming, another tail swipe into third basic. Busted. And of course, let's not talk about her ultimate, because her ultimate is broken. Absolutely broken. And because she gets a lot of ice damage bonus thanks to her core and her additional ability, literally gives her 30% ice damage, literally gets buffed by her best teammates ever. You could literally just do like a bajillion damage on ult. Yep, this is gonna be one of her strongest hitting moves. Yeah, enough said. Ellen is one of the best ice damage characters for a reason, and that's because all of her ice damage stuff is just that good. So, let's talk about another broken DPS, shall we? Shueyan! So, instead of being ice, she's ether. And what she does is extremely busted too. So, let's talk about it. So, she literally gets increased damage on enhanced shot shells. Literally, all you have to do is go into suppressive mode. If you don't know what that is, you literally just hold basic and you go into suppressive mode. Just like that. So, when you do that, you get 40% increased damage. When the enemy is stunned, you get an additional 40% increased damage. That's dumb. That's dumb. And also, when the battle starts, you can literally get up to 6. So all you have to do to literally get max shot shells on, well, basically on like the first 10 seconds is do chain. Yep, her chain gives her 3 enhanced shot shells. A lot of her stuff gives her enhanced shot shells, which is what her main core gameplay is. So, as see here, you do increased damage on enhanced shot shells. So how do you gain those? You can literally do basics to get it. You can get 1 per fourth or fifth hit on a enemy. So you can literally just spam left click or spam the attack button to literally get your enhanced shot shells. You can dodge. You can do a dodge attack to get 1 enhanced shot shell. You can also do a dash attack as well, which is pretty good as well. Yeah, so you can literally just do dodge counters to give her 1 shot shell. Assist, give her shot shell as well. You can literally do a defensive counter to get shot shells. 3 shot shells. Really busted. And it is, of course, extremely broken too. Her EX gives her 3 shot shells. Her chain gives her 3. Her ult gives her 3. Literally, all her kit is designed around giving you shot shells. So, for her, it's combo basics. So, 4th and 5th hit, dodge attack, assist follow-up, specials, and then chain and ult. Literally give her all hand shot shells. And you literally do this on a stun enemy. You're doing 80% damage. Yep. And that's not including her additional ability. Her additional ability literally gives you crit rate for free. Yep. So, all you need is, well, right here, 30% crit rate if you do EX chain or ult. That's so easy to do with Shui Yun because you're going to be doing it a lot. So, once she does her thing, you can literally just do EX and literally just do like a bajillion damage. You can also do ult. Ult does a bajillion damage too, gives you enhanced shot shells. Literally performs what she performs. That's enough to be said. Literally, extremely busted. Super broken. Super busted ether damage support. And guess what her best teams are? Qingyi. Qingyi is pretty good, right? I mean, yeah. And then Jane. She has Jane too. Pretty good. She also has Nicole, who is her best partner. Yeah, as you see there, just like Ellen with Sokaku Lycon, Shui Yun has her best team in the game. Qingyi Nicole. Yep. That cements her as one of the best in the game because you can literally run that team and you can literally destroy Shia defense. I'm not joking. That team is busted. So yeah. Well, let's talk about the third character, shall we? Jane Doe. So Jane Doe is a, well, physical anomaly. She's not an attack, but she's literally a DPS. Yep, she's literally a DPS on an anomaly DPS, just like Grace. But all of her damage is absolutely ridiculous. You'll see what I mean here. So, what is her main source of damage? Assault. Yep. Everything is based off assault. So, when you do assault on an enemy, which is most likely going to be her, you can literally just do a lot of crit damage. Yep. On max level core, you can literally have 40% crit rate, 50% crit damage, and you could get a further increase of crit rate per AP point. Yes, per AP point. This means that she gets guaranteed crits. Guaranteed crits. She's going to be doing a lot of assault damage. That's for sure. So you can literally just stack AP to get so much like crit damage assault. It's not funny. So, and all you literally have to do is hit an enemy to get into the nod state. Once they do that, you can literally have any squad member, it doesn't have to be Jane, but it's mostly gonna be Jane, to inflict assault. Once you do that, you literally get crit damage increase. Enough said. That literally cements her as a main DPS. Also, her additional ability also cements her as a main DPS. So as long as you have Anomaly or the same faction, you could literally get increased build up by 20%. And if a enemy is already suffering by a attribute anomaly, aka assault or corruption or shock, you could literally get an additional 15% increase on additional anomaly buildup. That's busted. That's absolutely busted. So that means that she's going to be doing more assaults. Enough said. And remember, her assaults are getting buffed on her core. 50% crit damage. That's 100% crit damage. With guaranteed crits. Guaranteed crit assault is dumb. Absolutely busted. So, how do you get this? So, she literally enters what is called the passion state. When she's in the passion state, she gets increased damage. Yep. And she also gets a lot of AP. The more AP you have, the stronger your assault becomes. Remember that. So, when you're in the passion state, which you have to fill up the meter to do, you get 25 increase anomaly buildup rate. Remember, this combos well with her additional. Yep. And you literally get up to 600 attack per anomaly point. That exceeds up to 120. That's dumb. That's absolutely dumb and broken. So she literally, all you have to do is do super big damage. All you have to do is just build up passion meter. Literally, all you have to do is just click normal a lot or do dodges. Once you do that, you literally go into passion state. Busted. Absolutely busted. And also, she can stay on passion state as long as you do perfect dodge, defensive assist, or in this case, your most main source of getting your meter back up, Shell Cho Jump. You get this every time you max up the passion state meter. So when you do that, you can literally do a basic attack that literally all she has to do is do a Beyblade attack. So when she does the Beyblade attack, you can do big anomaly damage. You can also do a big anomaly buildup as well. Which is the main reason why you want to level up her basic first, because all of her basic rely around on her passion state. The more passion you have, of course, the more damage you do. It is just really good. So she's mainly just a main DPS who literally loves to do anomaly buildup so fast to the point where she can trigger machine gun assaults. Yep, she is an assault DPS through and through. Literally does machine gun assaults. Literally her whole kit is based around assault. Passion meter literally builds up assault. Additional ability builds up assault. All of her skills build up assault. Dash attack, of course. You could do dodge counters to do, again, to build up assault. You can build up assault with special, build up assault with quick assist, build up assault with chain and ultimate. Everything builds up to assault, which ultimately leads to her core skill, which gives her crit damage to crit the assaults. And because she has high AP, she's gonna be doing more damage. So yeah, with that being said, she's busted. Absolutely broken. And what is her best team overall? Well, she literally has Ching-Yi Seth. Yep, remember that Seth gives 100 AP for free? This means that Jane's gonna be doing even more assault damage. Yep. And, well, Ching-Yi increases the stun damage multiplier. So yeah, of course, Jane's gonna be popping off. So, what are the weaknesses of these three? There's none. Again, there's no weaknesses for them because they're extremely good on their teams. So, well, speaking of teams, I haven't talked about them. So let's talk about the teams. So, what are Ellen's best teams? Literally Ice Team, of course. She also gets, again, Victoria Housekeeping, and I did mention it before. She gets Corin and Reina, which also branches off to other people, like Piper, of course. You can branch off Reina with Anton or Anby in case you want those free-to-play options. But Ellen is just super busted in those teams anyway. Probably like an actual non-replacement on those teams because she's gonna be your main damage dealer anyway, and she does so much for herself. Because look at this: increase ice damage for herself, increase crit damage on basics for herself. Literally, she literally can just work solo. She's just that good. So you can literally just run like 2 agents that don't sync up with her, and she just performs fine anyway. She's just that good. So yeah, that is her main teams. Literally, the teams that she's on, she's irreplaceable. Same with Shuyan. Shuyan is irreplaceable too. So what are her teams? Ether, of course, with Nicole. Nicole is the only other Ether team. Irreplaceable in a Nicole team anyway because, again, she's an Ether support. Nicole is an Ether support, literally supports Shuyan. Shuyan is a Ether damage. does a lot of ether damage. Yep, put the two puzzle pieces together. She also gets a lot of mileage thanks to her faction. Her faction's honestly one of the best factions in the game because all the agents in there are good. Qingyi, who is extremely good on stun damage multiplier, also one of the fastest stunners in the game, literally supports Shuyan really well thanks to her fast playstyle. Jane is also pretty good too. You could literally run these two as 2 DPSs, so you can literally have 2 sources of damage. So one can be an ether damage, one can be assault damage. Yeah, both of these literally can just combo well with each other. It's just extremely broken in general. You could also run her with Seth, but Seth isn't really that useful for Shuyan, but you can increase the AP anyway. For certain agents like Qingyi, who could literally just do a lot of shock damage because of how her kit works. You can literally give it to Shuyan if you really want to protect her from enemies, because he literally gives a shield for his party members, which is pretty nice. So yeah. And for Jane's teams, you can literally run anomaly agents, because look at this. Anomaly. Pretty cool, right? She can run basically with a lot of anomaly characters, like of course Piper is pretty good. You can also run Grace is a pretty great option too. Speaking of those supports, by the way, I forgot to mention that Shuyan also can be ran as supports. By the way, I'm sharing these two segments together, both of their teams, is because they're basically kind of similar. So they're pretty weird in that they don't include like attributes. They only include their types. So yeah, for Jade's instance is anomaly. For Shuyan instance, it is of course support and same faction. The only reason why she's able to sync up with Nicole is because, again, Nicole is support. Yeah, so she literally syncs up with Shuyan, and Nicole is literally ether right here. Literally syncs up with Shuyan, so that's how they can support each other, of course. But that also gives her another open bag right here, so you can literally just run, since she does have support, so you can literally run Sokaku. Yes, you can literally give 1k to all your party members, which is super busted. Of course, you can also run Lucy. Lucy is a support too. You can literally run her, give attack to all your party members. Reina, you can run her with Reina, who also works well too, which also combos with Grace, of course. Also, since you can run her with the support, since Jane is also a pubsec, you can run both of these and they cover each other, which means that you can run another support if you want for the double DPS team, which is why I said, again, these two will share the same segment, which is right now. So you can run like Sokaku or something to give 1k to both of them. You can run, again, Lucy to give 1k to both of them, or more attack to both of them. You can run Reina, of course. Reina can support these two together with pen ratio, especially with Jane, because Jane really uses pen ratio. Speaking of Jane, now that since we talked about both of them and how their teams work, yes, both of them work really well together. But Jane also works well in solo teams. She is probably one of the only agents in the game who could be ran solo with no other agent because of how her kit works. Literally, her kit literally tailors to dodge attacks, defensive assists, so she literally can just do nothing but dodge attacks, get passion state, do assault damage, and that's it. Yeah, you can literally run her solo, or you can run her with teammates, of course. She has great teammates like, besides Shuyan, Qingyi, who increases the stun damage multiplier, Seth, who literally gives her AP, which is her best team comp, Jane, Seth, Qingyi. You can also run other anomaly agents, of course, like Piper. You can run a double assault team, which is extremely good. So you can run Jane, Piper, Nekomata. Since Nekomata does benefit on assault damage, you can literally just run those two to do assaults. She does EX, and then the enemy dies. Literally so easy to run. You can also run other stuff too, like Grace. Grace is an anomaly agent, which means that you can get more options in your belt. Like, again, Reina. Reina is pretty good with Grace because it gives pen ratio. And they both are anomaly agents, so they're great with pen ratio. So, yeah. You can also run, of course, since they are anomaly, you can run Lucy. Lucy, Piper, Jane. Jane is pretty good. Yep, you can run that too. Kaleda as well. You can run Kaleda with Grace, of course. Yeah. In general, all of these DPSs, Ellen, Shuyan, Jane have one thing in common. They're irreplaceable on teams and they carry your teams. They are extremely busted. I would say you could honestly swap all of them together, but all of them share the same spot. That is what I concluded to, because all of them are just so good. All of them do like literally the same thing. All of them are DPSs and they're good DPSs. So yeah. So in general, Ellen is the best ice DPS in the game. Shoyan's the best ether DPS in the game. Jane is the best anomaly character in the game, as well as the best physical damage dealer in the game, and also the best assault in the game. So yeah. Well, that is it for the number 1 spot right there. That is Ellen, Shuyan, and Jane Doe. So now that just leaves to the number 1 spot. So the reason why, well, I didn't talk about a certain agent as much is because I don't want to give it away. I don't want a dead giveaway as to who the number 1 agent is. I only gave her like tidbits and certain hints to allude that she is number 1 or number 0 in this case. So without any further delay, who is the number 1 agent in the game? It's pretty obvious. At number 0 is the automaton and also the rookie PubSec officer, Cheng Yi. Cheng Yi is the best agent in the game. No doubt about it. And in 1.2, it's probably never going to change too, honestly. But she might be dethroned thanks to Caesar. But still, I would say that Cheng Yi is still the best agent in the game. I would say. Why is she the best agent in the game? She has multiple things going for her. She is a stun. Again, as I said before, it's the backbone of this game. Besides DPSs, besides crowd control. She has 2 things that are literally the backbone. She is a crowd controller, which is really valuable, again, in shield defense. And she's also a stun agent who fast stuns. Literally, all you have to do is do basics into charge. That's it. As I mentioned before in the A and B placing, all you have to do is do 3rd basic and then fill up the meter right here. Flash connect. You could go up to 100%. The more meter you have, by the way, above 75%, the more days you do, which is dumb. It's super dumb. You could literally increase the damage and days, which is really dumb. And then you could just do the big finishing move, the Moonlit Blossoms. Yeah, so you literally just do that. The enemy's already basically like halfway stunned, especially if it's an elite enemy. If it's a basic enemy, those enemies are just going to be stunned regardless. It's just way too good. And also, her 3rd attack is a big AoE. Just like Nicole, you could literally just do the 3rd attack. She literally vacuums them into the center so that you could do your charge basic. Once you do that, you literally group them together and they're dead. They're good as dead for the most part. That's not all. Because her core is pretty busted too. So she gets 4% stun damage multiplier. Remember Lycon? Remember when he gives 35% stun damage multiplier? Remember that stun damage multiplier increases the damage you do on a stunned enemy. 4% stun damage multiplier for each stack of subjudication, which stacks up to 20 times. 20 times of subjudication stacks. And each point is 4%. This means if you play your cards right, if you get the max amount of subjudication stacks, which is pretty easy, by the way, because you could literally get 5 right off the bat if you literally do enhanced Moonlit Blossoms, which is dumb. You could literally also do the perfect dodge on the subjudication to get 10 stacks immediately. So all you have to do is do 2 basics, do the auto dodge on Moonlit Blossoms, and you get your 20 stacks of subjudication. Guess how much 20 stacks gives you? 80% stun damage multiplier. That is the highest stun damage multiplier that you could get in the game. That's dumb. That's off a single stun character, by the way. Lycon can't even give you that. He only gives you 35%. Chingy flat out gives you 80. 80%. 80%. And all you have to do is do 4 hits. Yeah, you heard me right. 4 hits of Moonlit Blossoms. It's dumb. And of course, subjugation disappears once the stunned enemy is not stunned, which is, well, it's obvious, right? But the fact that you can get 80% stun damage multiplier is super busted. It's extremely, and I mean extremely broken, super busted that you get 80% stun damage multiplier. It's dumb. Absolutely broken. Absolutely insane. All you have to do is land this. You have to land Moonlight Blossoms. That's not hard to land. And you get the auto dodge, which also gives you another 10 stacks. That's dumb. Also, by the way, that's not all. You can literally just do 1 hit of basic, the Moonlit Blossoms. You can do the auto dodge, but it doesn't really matter. You want to know why? Let's read this in its full glory. When applying subjugation to normal and elite enemies, the target receives double the stacks. All you have to do is literally land 1 attack and then auto dodge. Or you literally auto dodge and that's it. You get your 80%. That's how easy it is to get this. That's how easy it is to get the 20 stacks. That's off her core alone. And remember, she's an AoE crowd controller too. So she's valuable on that too. So you can literally just do it on normal enemies right there. All of them get 15 or at least 20 subjugation stacks. And you just do big damage. They're dead. They're absolutely gone. They're goners. They're absolute goners. That's not all. Her additional ability is also pretty good too. When your squad has an attack or same faction, you get 20% increased days. 20% increased days. This means that she stuns faster. And also, when your impact is greater than 120, you get an attack increase up to 600, which means that she does more damage too. Yep, on top of what she can do on stun damage multiplier, she gets more damage. Yep. And also on top of what she gets on Flash Connect, because the more Flash Connect you have, the more days and damage you do, by the way. So you're just going to be doing big damage Moonlit Blossom hits. Yeah. Enough said. Also, her EX, by the way, lets her have a way to get back to her 3rd hit. Also, when you're on your 3rd hit and you dodge counter, you can literally go back into doing 3rd hit. She has ways to actually go into 3rd hit. It's dumb. Absolutely busted. She also gets anti-interrupt resist, by the way, which is dumb too, because she could literally just spam left click over and over again without getting interrupted by projectiles and whatnot. It's dumb. It's absolutely dumb. You can literally also, once you get enough meter, if you don't want to waste it, you could literally just do 4th attack and you keep your meter. Yep, you could literally keep your meter for something else. It's super busted. She's super, super broken. And also she builds up meter fast because of how fast she hits on you. So yeah, Flash Connect is just dumb. It's dumb. Absolutely dumb on her. It's so broken. She literally has ways to get into 3rd hit. EX, for the most part, gets her to 3rd hit. It's so dumb. Her defensive assist is also pretty good too, because you could literally just do defensive assist. There goes the days. And remember, her additional ability, 20% days. For free. Unconditional. All you have to do is literally just put her on a team that syncs up with her additional ability, which is not hard, by the way. Oh yeah, speaking of her additional ability, Yeah. The downsides? No downsides. Best agent in the game. There's a reason why she's the best agent in the game. Because she has the best additional ability in the game. Let's read it carefully. When another character in your squad is an attack character or shares the same faction. So besides getting PubSec right here, which involves Shuiyan, who is also Qingyi's best partner. You have Jane, which is also Qingyi's best partner. And you have Seth, who's also Qingyi's best partner. You also get the attack characters. Ellen, Ellen's best partner, also Qingyi. Corin, who's her best partner? Qingyi. Billy, who's Billy's best partner? Qingyi. Anton, who's Anton's best partner, who's also a shock DPS? Qingyi. Who is Neko's best partner, who can literally just do a lot of damage on stun enemies? Who also combos well with Jane, who is a anomaly support, who also does anomaly damage on top of that, which also combos well with Neko Mada's core, which literally does EX based off of if the enemy is on assault or not. Qingyi. 11. 11's best partner is Kaleido, right? But you know who else also is her best partner? Qingyi. Because with Qingyi, you can literally combo her with whatever you want. Yeah, you get options like Jane, Shuiyan, Seth. You literally give her more team options because of Qingyi. Yeah, you see what I mean by why Qingyi is the best agent in the game? Because she's irreplaceable in all of them! All of our teams! All of our teams! They're irreplaceable. She's literally irreplaceable in all of them. You can't replace her. You literally can't replace her. She's too good. And even if she has replacements, she's still a pretty great option. I mean, of course, for Ellen, you might want to run Lycon because of the ice damage res shred if you are fighting one enemy. But what if you're fighting multiple enemies, right? You use Qingyi. Because Qingyi literally crowd controls them for you. You can literally use Ellen to finish them off. Yeah, you see what I mean? That's just one example as the reason why Qingyi is irreplaceable. She's just way too good. She literally gives you 80% stun damage multiplier, by the way. Increase days, also increase attack. Her mechanics literally allow her to stun as fast as possible. Literally the highest stun damage in the game. Also the highest stun buildup in the game as well because of Flash Connect. Literally has ways to literally get her to get more Flash Connect. It's dumb. It's absolutely insane. And that's not counting her discs. It's not counting her W engine. We're only talking about Kit here. She's too broken. And, well, the main reason why she is at number 0 is the additional ability. Because that she can sync with every attack character in the game, she literally has a place in every team. Literally a place in mostly all the teams. Ellen, she has access to ice. Corin, she has access to physical. Billy as well, which also gives her access to physical. You have Anton, which gives her access to electric. You have Neko, which also gives her access to physical. You have 11, which also gives her access to fire. And on top of course, Shuiyan, which also gives her access to ether. You see? She has every team under her belt. She has every team under her belt. Literally irreplaceable in those teams. Which is why, with all great confidence right here, this is why Qingyi, in my opinion, is the best agent in the game. Because she literally combos with everyone. literally is an AoE crowd controller, which is very valuable. She's a stun character who stuns really fast thanks to her mechanics and her kit. And you already know, stun characters are backbones in this game. And the cherry on top is that the stun damage multiplier. It's the highest in the game. Qingyi. All bow down to Qingyi, the best agent in the game as of 1.1. So yeah, well, here's the tier list if you guys want to see it right here. So we could go over it for you guys. So at number 10, the honorable mention is Anby. At number 9, which shares the same spot, is Nekomata and Soldier 11. At number 8, it's Lucy. At number 7 is shared by 2 agents, Reina and Seth. For number 6, we have Kaleda. For number 5, we have Grace. For number 4, we have Nicole. For number 3, we have Sokaku. For number 2, we have Lycon. For number 1 is shared by 3 agents, Ellen, Shueyan, Jane. And as for number 0, we have Qingyi. So yeah. Well, there is my tier list in the in ZZZ. Those are your top 10 agents, in my opinion, of course. If you guys dislike it, or if you guys want to make your own list, again, the tier list is in the description of the video. Make your own tier list, and well, I'll see what you're cooking. So yeah. Well, anyways, well, if you guys do enjoy this tier list video, if you guys do enjoy this, let's say top 10, be sure to support the channel by leaving a like and subscribing. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys do support this channel. It helps me make more videos like this in the future. It also helps me keep me motivated into pumping these videos for you guys. So again, if you do like and subscribe, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Without you guys, I wouldn't be here. So again, thank you so much for supporting the channel. It really does mean a lot. Without you guys, I wouldn't be here. So yeah. Well, and as for the comments, since this is going to be a controversial video, what do you think about this tier list? And what do you think about this top 10? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think that some agents should be on top of others? You think some agents should be placed below other agents? Or do you agree with my tier list or my top 10? Let me know in the comments down below. And, well, I will try to respond to as many of you as you can, because of course this is a controversial list. So seeing your guys' opinion is well, pretty good. I mean, I do love to engage in discussions, so I want to see what you guys think in the comments down below. And as always, thank you guys for watching this long, and I mean very, very long, top 10 tier list video. And I'll see you guys in the next gotcha video.